Standing at the foot of Chicago's iconic skyline, it's hard to imagine people being cooked behind closed doors. But that's what happened when a heat wave turned into a heat disaster in July 1995.
This summer scorcher won't be forgotten. It's being called a heat disaster.
If you can't find air conditioning, find any public building, perhaps a library.
The medical examiner says the death toll will go well past 300 people.
The refrigerated truck was brought in to store bodies until staff could get to them. They're now discovering the bodies that were dead on Thursday and Friday, and they're now discovering them as they begin to decompose.
739 deaths in 1 week, a fleet of refrigerated 18-wheelers to hold the overflow from the morgue, and a mass burial for the unclaimed victims. They declared it a heat disaster. But according to Steve Whitman, the city official who crunched the heat death numbers, the underlying disaster had nothing to do with the weather.
This is a map. We've shaded in those community areas with the highest poverty levels and the community areas with the highest number of heat deaths. And as you can see, the maps are virtually identical. Where poverty was greatest, death from heat was greatest during the heat wave.
Not coincidentally, the neighborhoods that had the highest number of heat deaths also had the highest rates of diabetes, the fewest grocery stores, the most liquor stores, the most empty lots, the most boarded up buildings, the least amount of public pools, and the highest number of shooting deaths. Survival was largely determined by one factor: your address, where you were on the map. This is the disaster, and it's uncomfortable to call any place a disaster area. Who wants their home to be called a disaster area? But it's the language of the moment, and we respond to, oh my God, it's a disaster, or we gotta get prepared. Is it possible to kind of redefine poverty as a disaster? It takes extreme weather to look at sort of the extreme problems in our society. So to me, that's kind of wacky.
We like to talk about, what happens in Kenya or what happens in some island, but we don't want to engage in the fact that we have within the midst of the United States like these internal colonies, these like third world countries that exist. We want to deal with changing that landscape, so that people are healthier because they eat better, or, their housing situation is better. And so that when something does occur, everybody's better able to deal with that.
Maybe we can reframe disaster preparedness as a commitment to community resilience. Enter Orrin Williams, urban agriculturalist, humanist, serial optimist.
People know the relationship between food and health. The problem is because there's lack of resources, they can't actualize what they know. We want to mitigate that. My organization is the Center for Urban Transformation. Our mission is to develop urban agricultural and food-based business opportunities. Of course, the first part of that is anybody ask the community what it wants. I don't see blight. Of course it's here, but I see what the possibilities could be.
Let's not wait for that super developer to come in and fix this. We could do this ourselves. I came here with this idea. We're going to create a mapping tool that can help people invest in this vision, which is all about, building a much more resilient south side of Chicago.
Working with the group and working with Orrin, we started building out the project. It was initially just kind of this idea. How can we start mapping community solutions? An urban farm here, a community garden here.
I Live Here, a national network of community-grown solutions that is built using the open source Ushahidi crisis mapping platform. It's built from the ground up by participants who identify a piece of their neighborhood and say, I want to change this. They take a picture of the place. Maybe it's an empty lot, maybe it's a vacant building.
We're at the intersection of 71st Street and Wentworth. This is the proposed site for a community-scale grocery store and wellness market.
In the hands of the residents and in the hands of activists and in the hands of organizers, they're going to be able to say, this is what this is, but this is what this could be. Almost like crowdsourcing.
Hi, I'm Jasmine with Growing Home. We're serving corner stores, seeing who will be interested in us bringing our fresh produce from our urban farm into your store.
Like I give you a phone call, we need this, we need that, when you guys bring it in here.
And we will have someone to come and keep it stocked up for
make it easier for me, yeah.
So we just take a picture to match your picture with you're on the map, so people will know where you are.
There'll be a network of people who have already uploaded projects that they've done that are examples of solutions. A buyer's club where 75 families have aggregated their spending on local produce and they buy it all together. So it's cheaper for them, but it also equals jobs in the community and transformation of 2 empty lots into an urban farm.
You can get geotagged alerts that blast you on your cell phone and say, hey, there's a new community garden being built. There's a new co-op that just went up.
They'll be able to see examples of this, maybe not in their neighborhood, but maybe 10 miles away, or maybe on the other side of the country, in Oakland, or Detroit, or Philadelphia.
Thanks for bringing the food over.
And they'll find the resources that they need by connecting to that organization or by connecting to a resource page. And they'll be able to do it themselves.
Out here is collards, some turnip greens are going in, dinosaur kale, and some more cucumbers. This is a good recycling project, if you will, recycling urban land.
They're not just growing food, they're trying to grow a future economy.
I mean, it is about social enterprise, but it's also about creating that cultural matrix and cultural fabric that says, hey, we have to engage the system in a different kind of way.
If you do this and we do this, all our vegetables get cheaper, our community actually gets safer, we have a much better kind of social interaction with each other, and to me, that is the ultimate heat emergency plan. Like, that's a human emergency plan.